mean, such a big difference. That's insane. All right, in the car, we're gonna prime it for about 10 seconds. Then we gotta wait another like 20 seconds, prime it again for another 10 seconds, continue on.
Huh?
That didn't seem right. Okay, so it's been a few weeks and this car gave me a lot of problems. So as you guys know, I did the rod bearings, and after I did the rod bearings, it didn't want to start. So it seized and I didn't know why. So what I ended up doing is taking the rod bearings back off, trying spinning it by hand, did not spin. It only locked up after I used the starter. So that was a little confusing. I was like, okay, if I can spin it by hand, and then I went in, spun it with the starter, no spark plugs, no injectors. So it didn't want to spin over even like that with no compression and no rod bearings connected. They were just on loose. So it wasn't binding with the rod bearing job that I did. The timing sprocket is not actually connected to timing. So even if the timing sprocket jumped the tooth, it wouldn't affect timing. That's just directly connected to the crank. So I started taking things apart. I took the valve cover off, everything associated with it. I took the cam ledges off. I took the cam sprockets off, and I took the timing off. It was still seized. It did not want to let go. Put the transmission neutral, park, still did not want to let go. So I was out of options. We were about to go with a new motor, just thinking, you know what, main bearing seized. This thing was on its way out, and with having no oil, it just binded up, and that was it. I had one more idea, and that was to soak the cylinders with the 50-50 mix of acetone and ATF fluid. So I used Dextron 3 ATF fluid and acetone, threw it on all the cylinders, and just kind of broke it loose with the breaker bar, and that freed it up. So I went in there with a little camera, and I'll put pictures and videos up here, but the cylinders were really caked up. So that led me to believe that the piston rings were actually so full of carbon and built up full of carbon that it seized on the cylinder walls. And with the acetone and ATF, it actually freed it up. So that led me to go and take the intake manifold off and look at the valves. The valves were just as bad, if not worse, than the actual cylinders. So I went ahead and walnut blasted everything, scrubbed it with brass brushes, and just cleaned it all up, used picks as much as I can. So I got the valves cleaned, and I got the inside of the cylinders cleaned, and I did my own little zip tie method to put in the injector hole and spark plug hole using a vacuum, acetone, ATF, and then I filled it with alcohol and then sucked it out and blew it out, and I got the cylinders looking almost brand new. And so I started reassembling everything, put new rod bearings, I relubed the cams, put the cam trays back together, new timing chain, new oil sprocket and timing or oil chain, and it's just everything, gaskets. It needed a new valve cover gasket. I didn't see when I took it off, but the previous person that put it on there didn't put all the bolts on, and they crushed the actual valve cover gasket. So there's a lot of stuff on this car that just needed to be fixed. All right, so let's see if it's still dead. It's not dead. All right. So she sounds good, a lot better than when I brought it in because it was ticking like crazy. Rev it anywhere higher than 3K. It might be misfiring, it feels a little shaky. So we'll turn it off because I gotta check codes and I gotta reflash it back to its original tune, and then he does have a super license, so I'll see if I can put the let the DME know that it has the CTS turbos on it. A few other little things, but I gotta get the bottom end finished up. I have to do the control arms and tie rods, torque those down once it's settled on the actual ground, and torque everything down. Put the wheels on, take it for a test drive. I can't really step on it because the transmission goes into limp mode if you go past 4,000 RPMs. It's had that issue since he got the car. So that's the next thing we're gonna do to it. He's gonna bring it back once it's whenever he wants. If he gets a new transmission or a valve body, it's the valve body that goes bad on these transmissions. It's the I believe it's the GM transmissions, or the GA6H something 19 is a transmission that it has. But yeah, it's done finally. It was a headache, but I mean, I basically tore this whole M54 apart and rebuilt it. The only thing I didn't take off was the head and the bottom clamshell where the main bearing sits. But Yeah, it was a pain, but we got it running. She's running almost like brand new. So hopefully that valve cleaning and piston cleaning does wonders to this motor. It should actually make some power now. He just has to get that transmission to be able to actually put the power down. So okay, so now we're just gonna go down to the codes, read the codes. I took the injectors out to test compression. They all tested around 180, 175 ish. So compression is pretty good actually for how many miles this car has. All right, let's get this car started. It's very loud. Let's start going. I don't want to get pulled over for how loud this car is. I also put new spark plugs in it. It's got step 2 colder plugs, and I gapped them to 0.022 inches. Oh my gosh, this thing is burbly. When it upshifts, I mean, it revs. It feels like it's kind of slipping before it actually goes into being able to shift. So listen to when it shifts. Right there, that third to 4, it goes, and then it shifts into 4th. Feels like it's slipping. I don't know if it's torque converter or just the automatic transmission fluid isn't flowing how it should, and it's kind of lagging before it shifts. So it seems like the coolant side of things is good. It's going up to 208, comes down to 203. It's staying within temperature, so that's good. We don't have any leaks or any blows, or hopefully not. I'll check it when I get home. But the coolant lines have not blown up yet, so that's good. We're gonna go ahead and put it into sport. Trans is up to almost 200 degrees. Oil temps are fine. I want to do a little pull here. Does smell a little bit. All right, so the car is done. As you guys know, it needs a transmission. So I went and got a transmission. Well, we went, picked one up right there. So that transmission's got to get swapped into this one. Now, before you guys say, oh, it's just the valve body or the little solenoids inside the transmission, this thing is at 179,000 miles. There's no point in just fixing the transmission. That one was $300 and it's got 50,000 miles on it. So, well, allegedly. But I checked the inside before buying it. The fluid seemed clean. Magnets didn't really have any chunks in it. Yeah, it shifts. I'm able to move it by hand and it's smooth. So it's going straight into that car. Hopefully it fixes that. Well, it will fix that problem, but now it's gonna have a fresh motor and a fresh transmission so it can get tuned. So let's get this car lifted. Got to get the exhaust off. Okay, so I have just cut straight to and didn't record any of the boring stuff. You guys know how it goes. But we got the old 179,000 mile transmission out. We got the new one here. This is the new converter, torque converter. This is the old one. I had to write it down just so I don't mix them up. Either way, this one's darker. So the new pan with the gasket. These come with the with the filter installed in them. So you got to replace the whole pan. It's got the new fill plug with the O-ring on it. He ordered this bolt. I don't know what this bolt is for. I'll figure it out. And all of the bolts for the pan, as well as all the fluid. All those bolts that hold the transmission to the engine suck. If you guys know, if you've ever done it, it's almost impossible to get them. You got to use your brain and figure it out. But I got it out. The old transmission fluid was super, super dirty, almost black. The new one, it's kind of cherry red a little bit. So I believe that it has 50,000 miles. Okay, so transmission's done. Now I'm gonna take it for a test drive and see how it does. Oh my gosh, that's such a difference. One, it doesn't feel sloppy. Two, it shifts and it doesn't jerk, it doesn't rev up before it shifts. It's quicker. Just cruising, it's already quicker. And it's so sensitive. I barely tapped the throttle and it just downshifted on its own. But this thing feels, yeah, it feels really nice. It's just cruising in 5th gear when before it wants to cruise in 3rd. Let's put it in sport just to see how much it kicks back. So much different. I'm gonna put the side-by-side videos next to each other because when I would go into sport and it shifted, you can see my whole body just jerk because it was slamming into that gear. It wasn't smooth at all. And now it's just, I mean, such a big difference. That's insane. It feels like a whole different car now. I don't want to push the engine too much because, again, it's not tuned. This car is going to rip. Makes me want to buy an M54 and just build the crap out of it. Okay, so the car drove beautifully. It was, no, at the end, it started misfiring. I thought it was going to be an injector or a spark plug because it did that to me before with the old spark plugs. It's actually way worse than I thought. So what ended up happening is on these early model DMEs, the MOSFETs tend to go bad. And MOSFETs like kind of like a tiny little power supply. On MHD, it literally says DME fault, but I have to take the DME out, open the DME, and then undo the solders, and then resolder the new MOSFETs on. I'm gonna do a little more research, make sure that it is that before I do all that work, but it's unfortunate. The thing was very, very nice, smooth, but that's gonna be it for today. Next video will be the MOSFETs. I guess if you guys want me, I'll record soldering it and all that. It's gonna look a little ugly, but it'll work. But she's back.